How do I find my sound? This is such a giant question that's on every artist's mind at some point. In this video, I want to go over how I've worked through that question and honestly continue to work through it over the past 15 years of evolving as a musician. This approach has allowed the music I've worked on and artists I've worked with to collaborate with Grammy-winning writers and producers, get millions of streams across DSPs, and get film and TV licensing opportunities, ultimately being able to pursue a creative life because we have something unique to offer. The goal for me here isn't to dive too deep into the philosophy of this big question, but to give you a couple concrete exercises that you can do to start setting yourself on the right path to finding your unique sound. Let's talk about it. First off, I think how do I find my sound might be too big of a question to bite off all at once. If we're starting there, I think we set ourselves up in our creative process to constantly be editing ourselves and being like, is this right? Is this me? Is this unique enough? And it kind of stunts the creative process a little bit before we even give ourselves a chance to give ideas a try that were kind of unfiltered and actually us. We don't want every creative decision to carry so much weight. We need boundaries. So let's start with a smaller set of questions, and I've got 4 of them. First off, what are your influences? This is kind of an obvious one, but I'm not talking about what you're listening to currently. I'm asking what are your actual influences, like early ones, the ones that inspired you to make music and write songs and create things. So if I was doing this, I would think about my mom's collection of over 600 CDs and boxes full of vinyl records and a lot of different top 40 charting songs and things like that were always on rotation. So kind of subconsciously, I started digesting pop structure and all of that stuff, even if I wasn't thinking about it at the time. When I started creating music, I picked up guitar, and so I started learning a bunch of folk fingerpicking stuff. That's what I gravitated towards at the time. There was metal, there was shredding and scales and all of that. That's what I mean by looking at your influences, like not just naming artists, but being able to connect those to times in your life. So super quick exercise. What do you do with this information? List out 5 songs that inspired you as a kid, things that you still love, not something that's current, and do a cover of it if you haven't. Second question I would ask you, what memories do you have tied to your influences? When we think back on our influences, we kind of inherently start to think about what we're experiencing at the time. We gravitate towards certain genres of music or certain themes in order to get through different points in our life. I think having memories tied to our influences is extremely important, because now when someone asks me to make an R&B record or a folk-inspired record, I don't just think about the sounds. They're tied to memories. They're tied to experiences that I had with those genres. For example, like I remember going to a piano recital and hearing Robert Glasper, someone do a cover of that, and being like, wow, what the hell is this? And so I have all of these interesting chord patterns in my head when I think about R&B from that memory, like that specific feeling that I can grab from. I'm not trying to just play a record and copy paste like what it kind of is like. I have actual experiences in my life that I'm trying to tie into the feeling that invoke inspiration with it. Another quick exercise. What's something that currently inspires you musically, or that has inspired you in the past? Can you start to hear it vaguely in your head? It doesn't have to make sense. You don't have to play anything. Just start to hear it in your head. See if you can start to hum a melody around it. See if you can start to shape something there without listening to anything at all. The hardest part of this exercise is not stopping yourself too early while you come up with ideas. If you do find yourself stopping yourself at all during that process, that's something you need to work on. You're blocking the creative process in some way. You're blocking your access to your influences, to who you are. The third question you could ask is, what is your actual vision? Like, you can pull from these influences. You can go to start a project with different objectives and things like that, but without being able to articulate what it is that you want, it's going to be hard to collaborate with people, and it's going to create a lot of uncertainty inside as to like what directions and decisions to actually make. There's a couple different ways that you can articulate this vision. So like you should be able to articulate what you want in a way that like a fan would understand. So a simple line would be angsty sad boy pop, or R&B meets organic retro synthwave, something like that. Something in like 5 to 10 words that's just going to quickly sum what you want up. And not only do you need something digestible for your fans, you need something digestible for people that you're collaborating with, people that can understand a little bit more complexity. Like, instead of going to somebody and saying like, I want to make a pop song inspired by this track, you can use words like I really like how this song uses chord extensions in the chorus, or I really like how this song uses acoustic guitar and pans them in 2 different directions and creates this shimmering sort of width. Be more descriptive in what your vision actually is. So, quick exercise for this to practice: pull up some of the records that you absolutely love right now and articulate the reasons why you like them, like as detailed as you can. You can ask yourself questions like, what pattern are the drums playing? Do I have words to describe that pattern yet? Learn them. What makes these lyrics land? How are they storytelling? How are the melodies fitting inside of the chords? Are they outlining them? There's an infinite amount of questions that you can get when you listen to a song to really diagnose and understand what it is you actually like about them. All this to be said, it brings us to the most important aspect of finding your sound, and it is, can you actually execute it? And this is the tough one, is like, are you actually good enough at your craft to be able to execute what you think your vision is? Is your taste aligned with your ability to perform it? Do you have the confidence to be able to be honest with yourself, to pull from all of the experiences that you have without filtering it? The humility to understand where you need help and where you don't need help, what your strengths and weaknesses are. Quick exercise to figure this out. Play your song next to one of your favorite influences from now or in the past. Does it measure up to it? Does it fit next to it inside of a playlist? If it's not competitive with it, if it doesn't stand next to it on its own, you need to fix that, or find people that can help you evolve your craft in some way that can help get it there. That could be refining songwriting, refining your vocal performances with a vocal coach, getting a producer, getting a mixing engineer, getting a mastering engineer, all of these things that can help elevate your craft to the place that it needs to be. Because you could have a unique direction for things, you really could, but if it's executed poorly, everyone's going to look past how unique it might be. Like, unique is not synonymous with bad. If I was going to have you walk away with any single thing in this video, it would be like, there is no moment of arrival that everything is all of a sudden going to make sense. It's the process of doing it that gets you there. If you ever struggle with this stuff, I help artists work through this process and we get really cool sounding records. So if you're stuck anywhere, feel free to hit me up.